close the door.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Patriots 3, Life, Liberty, Pursuit of Happiness. And here's your host, Tim, Tanya, and our return special guest, Mr. T.O. How y'all doing tonight?
Great. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Thanks very much.
Been
Looking good.
a rush of a day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just a quick reminder to our audience to go ahead and give us a like, share, and follow at Tim Holliday TV. That's TIMHOLLIDAY TV. No spaces. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, and this will be later on Spotify, iHeart, as well as Apple Podcasts. You guys are the advertisement. Facebook's limiting me on how much I can share. They put a suppressor on me, so it's a terrible thing.
That's wrong.
Yeah, we had a wonderful conversation with Matt this last Tuesday. So if you hadn't seen that, go ahead and check out that show. Wonderful co-host there. One of my friends down in Tennessee, Kimberly Overton. She has the Remnant Healthcare. So definitely be sure to check out Remnant Healthcare. Take control of your health and visit remnanthealthcare.org. I'll go ahead and drop that link into the comments in just a moment here. So tonight we're definitely going to be talking about a lot of things about the Palisades fire, where we left off on our last conversation. We were on about 2 weeks ago. It was on the 30th of last month that we were on. So we're going to start off with that where we left off, and then we're going to talk about the engineering of the Twin Towers. We're going to talk about some tragic events of the USA and are they true? And we're going to be talking about just a little bit more and probably go down a rabbit hole or down a path, I should say. I want to give a quick shout out to Mocha. Mocha, thank you, as well as Spitfire. All right, so let's go a little bit before the Palisades fire. I want to play a quick little video clip for you all. I don't know if my co-host here, Tanya, or Mr. T.O. has seen this, but I saw this right around the same time during the recall of Gavin Newsom in 2020, and it was what was it, KBC 10 out of Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, mainstream media has actually put out something honest and truthful.
Let's start with the felonies. After the 2010 San Bruno gas pipeline explosion, PG&E was convicted of 5 felonies for willfully breaking federal gas pipeline safety laws and 1 count of obstruction for misleading federal investigators about the disaster. 8 people died in the San Bruno explosion. Fast forward to now, prosecutors are investigating PG&E for starting the 2018 Camp Fire and tell us they're considering charges as serious as 85 counts of manslaughter for the people killed in that disaster. We've been digging into the story since that fire burned 8 months ago. After it did, the federal judge overseeing PG&E's probation felt the need to point out that a corporation cannot go to prison. PG&E hasn't been a model federal offender. The judge ruled the company violated its probation earlier this year. While on that probation as a felon, PG&E donated $4 million to political causes and campaigns for office. That means 8 out of every 10 sitting state lawmakers took money from a convicted felon. And Newsom got $208,000 between his campaign and the spending group helping him to win office. So we had a simple question. Why is that okay? We asked the governor to sit and chat with us at a time and place of his choosing. He didn't accept. So we showed up to ask him today. Governor, why is it okay for you to take money from a felon?
And you know that the way you frame that is going to lead me to ask you to flesh
Your
that
office
out.
is aware of my question. I've tried to schedule time to talk with you about this.
I don't know what you're
PG&E was convicted of 6 federal felonies in 2016. After that, you took more than $200,000 to help get elected. How should people trust you to be running the show to come up with the solutions?
I wish you luck with whatever you're working on, but that's a strange question. So.
Well, I know it's a strange question. It's a strange time, but there's a convicted federal felon making campaign donations in this state to our duly elected leaders, including the speaker, who took almost $9,000.
Yeah, look, we're trying to focus on.
It's a serious question. You don't think people want an answer to that?
It might make. We are focusing very, very collaboratively on addressing the issue of not only one IOU that went bankrupt, but the prospects of 2 IOUs going bankrupt. The prospect that 2 in Southern California will have a downgrade in their bond rating. That
Well
could
aware
lead-
of the issue. Is it okay for
Oh,
you to take the money from them with the felony conviction? They're
There's-
still serving their sentence for crying out loud.
We have additional questions.
Yeah.
Governor, I've got a policy question about the wild card.
You're not going to answer.
So you see how he just evaded the question completely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Typical.
a Kamala Harris move right
I'm,
there.
I'm
people.
actually surprised he didn't do that little shoulder twitch thing.
Yeah.
That's
or
what
the
he did.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he totally evaded the question, and just other reporters like, we have other questions, as we heard in the background. It's just terrible. So Gavin Newsom bailed out PG&E. The government bailed out PG&E, and
Right.
after that, as we talked about 2 weeks ago, the prices of utilities just went up.
Oh yeah.
So
Constantly.
as I say, it wasn't taxing people because the government bailed out of a company that should have been bankrupt.
Mhm.
The prices just went on to the consumer.
Correct.
Correct.
That's always going to happen. Hmm.
And it's absolutely terrible. I mean, I witnessed that. I mean, I live out of California now. My utility
Yeah.
bills are much lower, but it almost seems like the utility companies here are taking lessons from
Yeah.
Pacific Gas and Electric. It's very disgusting because they want to raise the rates by like 39% over here.
Well, Tim, when we had the flooding in Wrightwood and we didn't even have power for 5 days,
Yeah.
my Edison bill, they prorated the amount of power I used, which was a big fat zero because I was using a generator.
Wow.
So I asked other people, did you guys get billed? And then pretty soon everybody started posting their bills. And I go, well, how? I mean, it wasn't even on. How? It should not be anything. It should be zero, right? For
Right.
like 5 days. And I think it was actually one of the highest bills I had all year. And I didn't even have power for 5 days.
Wow.
I was running my generator.
I was on half power for about a week. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it until I saw the utility workers at the power line. Just right
Yeah,
outside
then
my,
you know.
right outside my property line. I was just like, what's going on? Yeah, I had an outlet out. One of my light switches was out, and I'm just like ready to crawl up the attic to see if there's a junction box that somehow got a little indifferent
Fried.
during that hailstorm that we had a couple of weeks
Right.
ago. Yeah, I had a
Right.
nice welcome back.
Yeah, kind of going back to what you did, what you showed there.
Yes.
And actually, I saw that clip a while ago.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't see it actually as a clip, as you mentioned. I think I saw that either on the news or or it was live or something. So I
Yeah.
remember seeing that, and I was going, just it's very typical of Gavin. And you're right. He was trying to swarm in and out of that.
Yeah.
And then of course he had his cronies and around him say, well, what's the next question? And
Right.
and so he never got answered that question. Plus, the fact that I believe it was around, you're right, the recall. It might have actually been around. Obviously, I
Yeah.
think it was maybe in the COVID area too. But did you know that the people that he met at the French Laundry were also from PG&E? There were executives from PG&E that were sitting
Ooh.
there. So
Yes.
Wow.
there's a lot of backdoor operations that are going on behind the scenes. That obviously one
Right.
to bail out PG&E was one of them. Even though they were found guilty, they were found guilty on a couple of things besides the Paradise Fire. They also had
Yeah.
the San Bruno fire. I don't know if you remember that
Right.
fire that happened. They were found guilty for that as well. And you would think that some company, even though utilizes
Yeah.
and provides energy to all the Northern California residents, the amount of money that they had to spend would pretty much bankrupt anybody, bankrupt them,
Right.
bankrupt anyway. So obviously
Right.
there's a backdoor where we as PG&E customers are paying for it.
Right.
And that's
Right.
that's what's happening. I mean, we basically have doubled or a little over doubled our price in the
Damn.
amount of electricity cost. I think the last time we talked,
Oh yeah,
Just
you're
say 10
saying
years.
you're spending a little bit over $100 10
Yep.
years ago, roughly, with your AC on
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And now you said you're
Right.
paying nearly 3 times the amount, if not more.
correct.
terrible.
So, summer months, all I use is electric. Outside of the water heater and the dryer, because the other thing that's gas is
Mhm.
my furnace. So during the summer, I don't use the furnace. I
Right.
don't need it. I don't have AC where we live.
Right.
So I really only use electric. And down in 10 years ago it was definitely under $100 a month in the summer
Mhm.
months. Right now I'm spending $250 to $300. So
Right.
that's just obviously a markup of at least 100 to 150% over
Right.
what I was used to paying, and that's for everybody. I mean, I have neighbors who are paying over $500
Yep.
because they do have AC.
Yeah.
My other neighbor who he has two Teslas. He has a Tesla plug, but he never
Right.
uses it anymore. The reason is because it costs too much.
Right.
Well, it was because about what 4 years ago, California was having rolling blackouts, and they're telling people to
Oh,
buy
yeah.
electric vehicles, but
Yeah.
don't plug them in.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, like peak hours. They were saying, don't plug in during peak hours.
Right.
When we had really hot days in the rest of California, besides where I live, because where I live, we have our what we call our natural air conditioning. But
Right.
if
If
you're
you're
living in
close
the
to the
Central
coast.
Valley, like Fresno and Bakersfield and whatnot, that
Right.
they're definitely
Right.
using a lot of their AC
Yeah.
and a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And so what they were telling the entire state was, hey, stop using energy between 4 p.m. and I think it's 8 or 9 p.m. and then you can plug in if you want afterwards. And it's like that's
Yep.
such a ridiculous thing, especially
Right.
when you got a governor saying and always touting how we're the third, fourth, fifth largest economy in the entire world. You would think that we would have
Yeah.
enough money then
Right.
to provide what we need. I
Right.
mean, think about a country that's like on the 100th, on the number of 100 of
Yeah.
the economics, and they don't actually have any sort of brownouts or rolling blackouts.
Right. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
I live in an area with high winds, and California gets
Right.
a wind or barely a breeze, and they're like rolling blackout, or we got to shut
Right.
down the power.
Yeah.
I live in like Tornado Alley, and we're still up and running until the actual tornado hits.
I don't understand why we bail out private companies in the first place, because I mean, I don't see them bailing out the mom and pop shop around the corner, right? They just let them close down and move on with their lives. Why are they bailing out anybody else? I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Right, especially
I'm
during
not a
that
fan.
time during the pandemic. That was just an
Yeah, I'm just
absolutely
not a fan
terrible
of it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a
and
lot of people.
I kind of feel like this all started with Gray Davis way back in the early 2000s. I mean, it may have been before that, but I know that I moved back to California in 1999,
Mhm.
and then Gray Davis became the governor, I believe, in
Yeah, I
2000.
remember. Mhm.
And the reason I know this is because I remember we were actually having these brownouts.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about it while I'm on the treadmill going, if we have this, a power outage and I'm on the treadmill, what's going to happen? Am I going to fly through the front? Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is because that all started the Green Party and the Green New Deal and all that stuff with, solar panels, solar energy,
Right.
and getting off of nuclear power, which
Right.
then transcended down the road into where we are today,
Yeah.
where we don't have enough energy because we're relying so much on farms like wind farms or solar
Right.
panel farms, and
Right.
that's never going to work. You could basically have the entire state covered, and I don't even
Right.
think that will give you enough energy for all the the population of California.
Correct.
But
Well, an
so
interesting thing, this was back in 2019. It was, shortly after a friend of mine moved down to Texas. They had a terrible winter and all the power went out. They had
Mhm.
these solar fields and wind turbines. I've seen the wind type turbines in person.
Yeah.
Disgusting to see them littering the panhandle. But yeah, everyone's power went out, and they had to just, cover up in blankets and just live it out. And it was freezing.
yeah.
And California really doesn't know. Well, Tanya might know because she lives up in the mountainous range, but
Yeah.
a lot of Californians don't know what it's like to live in some crazy
Mhm.
Cold
conditions.
weather. I'm well
So-
aware of it.
I want to go down a slight little rabbit hole. So I had some friends there at the Paradise Fire, and they were telling me that vehicles are like completely melted, but a tree right next to it is unscathed. Do you think those are the high energy beam weaponry, or?
Yeah,
Could be.
so I started learning a lot more about the microwave energy. So it's called well, I forgot now. I can't remember the actual acronym, but it's the microwave energy that has been maybe pushed out there because the fact that metal in cars melting to a point
Yeah.
where it's actually like not lava, but it's
Distorted.
yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Yeah.
that doesn't come from fires the way we have the types of fires that we've experienced. So unless there's some sort of extra energy. So I do believe that that's been happening. I think that happened in Lahaina, because I've seen a lot of the damage that was there. There's a great guy that has a YouTube channel. He's Maui Realtor, I think is what his name is.
Yeah.
He he's just a realtor, but all of a sudden he was trying to report on what was happening after the fires.
Yeah.
And he started interviewing people.
Right.
There was a guy that does straw hats, and he's kind of a homeless guy. Well, he was walking away from the Lahaina fire, and he walked up, and not a single car passed him, he said. And then they asked the police officer at the end, saying, well, how come no one's allowed to, or is moving? And he said, I'm just following orders. They're supposed to turn back. So that somehow they wanted to corral these people into, there's only one way in and one way out.
Right.
And people that escaped didn't follow. They just went through the fields.
Yeah.
Other people were forced to jump in the ocean.
Oh, Jesus.
And then this guy who was doing this report, he started showing, like, he saw this vehicle that was burnt out, and the metal, even the glass was melted.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's a really hot fire.
Yeah, so metal doesn't start burning until I think it's 24. Now, someone please fact check me, but I think it's 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah. Wait a second. On that note, we had a fire in our backyard, and even our metal fence, it didn't melt. I mean, it was black, but it did not melt. Yeah. The glass didn't blow out. And I mean, we're talking, this was a raging wildfire, right? So the fact that occurred gives you the impression that something bigger was taking place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I believe that these weapons do exist. There's a few years ago, I watched this documentary on PBS. It was called Tesla, Master of Lightning. That documentary has been out for a few years, but the technology has been out for probably near 100 years. And it's interesting on, when Mr. Nikola Tesla had passed away, that a lot of his documents were confiscated before they went back to his home location of Serbia, I believe. So I want to drop a link into the comments of where everyone can find that. So they actually made like comic books called The Death Ray and things like that.
Oh, I remember that.
That was right around the time where Tesla was coming up with this idea, and he was trying to strike deals with other governments. Hey, I want to sell this technology to you. Yeah, he already had it. He already had it.
Yeah.
So,
Back to Hawaii. What took so long, T.O., to get the water? What was the deal with the water? I mean,
so the guy that actually ran the water department, he didn't turn on the water. And the other thing that was a big misstep was they didn't sound the alarm. So a lot of the parents were working, of course, during the day. On that particular day, they had a lot of kids. I think there was a day off. So there's a lot of kids that went missing. Still at this point, I'm not sure where they've ever figured out how many died from the fires, but they were all stuck at home, and they weren't alerted. And then the cell towers were out. And you think about it, you're literally right next to the ocean. Why couldn't you somehow suck the water out of the ocean to help douse out this fire? Again, those winds were pretty strong in Lahaina. I don't know how the temperature. I mean, I don't know the miles per hour on it off the top of my head, but I know it was pretty strong. Going back to the Palisades, that discussion about the fire winds and whatnot. Fact check was that they were less than 40 miles an hour, and actually I did check that, and the mayor of LA said, "Oh no, they were over 100." So
I know, I saw that.
So even if you have winds at 100 miles an hour,
that's still,
I don't see how a fire, a regular fire, can get to 2,500 to 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit to melt metal.
Right.
Nope.
So that's the thing. And then the other part, and this is all conspiracy. I know that everyone who is out there, if you talk about blue roofs or anything that's blue, for some reason, the color blue didn't catch fire. So there's lots of pictures of that, even in Paradise.
That's
So that's
wild.
very strange as well.
Well, I mean, light reflects and refracts differently off of different colors. So it makes sense to me. I mean,
Right.
it's not rocket science. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
if you shine a flashlight onto something black, it's not going to reflect back to you. Something dark blue, it's not going to reflect back to you. Now, if you
Yeah.
something that's yellow, you're going to see that. It's like, hey,
Right.
here's some yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
And that's-
direct energy weapon is the term I was looking for.
Yes, that's
with
it.
Paradise and with Lahaina.
Yeah.
I would say maybe even with Paradise, though I don't know so much if that had anything to do with it. But again, the amount of destruction
Oh,
and
yeah.
the
It's amazing.
the things that could go wrong went wrong, where people who are supposed to be there to help protect, for example, the fire department. I know the fire
Right.
department in Lahaina was there trying to fight it, but
Right.
when you have no water,
Yeah.
there's
How
no
do
way
you
you're going to
fight
fight
it?
it.
Right.
So it's like trying to fight a fight with your either one hand or both hands behind your back. You're not going to
Right.
win usually. So it's very difficult to fight a fire that of that magnitude and how strong the
Right.
winds were. But the thing is that fire should have been put out way before in both those fires.
Yeah.
They
Right.
were already being put out in Lahaina in the morning. For some reason, it built back up. They didn't come back to fight the fire. That
Yeah.
exactly same thing happened in Paradise, not Paradise, but in
Palisades. Yeah.
Palisades,
hmm
where the fire started, I think, a couple days before.
Right.
They
And it
actually had everyone
smoldered
out
or
there.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Um,
there and they knew it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that to have a reservoir completely or two reservoirs completely
Dry.
gutted
Yeah.
makes no sense at all. So someone in the water department should have been fired
Yeah.
for that.
Yep.
And then, the other part was they had firefighters, but they didn't have enough trucks. In
Yeah.
both,
That's
I
what
don't
I
know about that in Lahaina, but I know in Palisades they didn't have enough
Oh,
fire trucks.
with the Palisades, they're blocking fire trucks coming in from out of state because of smog junk.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
It's
I
just like,
thought it was like
really?
just because there was only one way in and out, and all those cars people had jumped out of their cars because the fire was there, and they just left the cars there, right? So that made it hard to get through too, right? But
That
you know
was
what? They don't fight it on the ground, you guys. They fight it in the
In the
air.
air. Mhm.
They always fight it in the air. I live in the mountains. We have fires all the time, and they're out just immediately. They're out.
Yeah.
So the fact that they would let it smolder and then restart back up is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So is there a builder or a developer or something that has came into Hawaii or Lahaina, whatever, and trying to take the land now, or do you know what's happening over there, Tio?
That's a very good question. I think that's what the
Yeah.
that was the idea. That was what was going to
Yeah, that's what
happen,
they said.
probably going to happen. The residents of Lahaina, all of
Yeah.
them were old. Like they've been not old,
Oh,
but like they've been living there for
a long
generations.
time. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
weren't wanting to sell.
Yeah.
And so in the way, if this and then again at this point I don't know the facts on that one, but I know that
Right.
that was the idea that maybe this was a conspiracy to try to force them out,
Right.
right?
Because they're older, and like you said, they've
Mhm.
gone generation after generation living there, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
they didn't want to sell. I mean, meaning like they would be
yeah.
offered a large amount of money, but they said no.
Right.
This is where I grew up, or this is what I want.
Right.
The place I live, I don't want to sell, and lots of them were like that because
Yeah.
they were real Hawaiians that had generations.
Yeah.
This goes back because Lahaina was like the kingdom of Hawaii. That's where
Right.
the
Yeah.
king and queen lived, right? That's
Isn't
their
that
right.
wild?
So
That's so wild.
there's a lot of of the heritage there that people
Mhm.
that had homes didn't want to leave. So let's there's something I'll have to look into, but definitely conspiracy for that because the fact that there was just so much that just went
Didn't
wrong.
go right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're an island. You have water all the way around you. Like, what
Mm,
the hell's wrong with these people? We don't have water.
yeah.
Take a look around. We got water everywhere.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of getting it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How many people died there? Do you know, Tio?
No, I'm gonna look that up.
Let's Google it.
Well, the interesting thing with the Palisades fire, now they have to impose with these newer building laws. So it's
Mhm.
actually forcing residents out. That also the taxes when they do rebuild, they're going to have
Oh,
this
yeah.
new tax.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
going to be
assessing,
outrageous.
not
Mhm.
assessing the property value of what the home once was, because the home doesn't exist anymore. What
Right.
the rebuild is going to be. It's
Yeah.
just a terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah.
Property taxes are outrageous anyways here. So yeah.
Yeah. So I just looked at it said 102, but I don't know if that's an accurate number. It might be
It
a
could be a
number
bunch
that
missing also,
well,
right?
so if I'm gonna look up the amount of students that return back because I know that there was a lot that were away. There was a
Okay.
whole entire like let's say 2,000 students,
Oh,
and a
wow.
lot of them weren't accounted for. So I don't know if that's where that number is.
Yeah,
I
like
don't really
the
know, but
paradise people said so many people died, but there's like a million, I mean, a grip of people missing. So I would assume that they had died also, right? I mean,
yeah.
where they've been for the last however many years, I don't know. I mean, it's sad to say, but I would assume that's the case
Yeah.
with the missing. It's got to be. And the Palisades, does anybody know about that land over there? Like you said, there was a mobile home park right on the water, I believe, right?
Yeah.
What
Mhm.
happened with that whole thing? Did a
Yeah.
developer come in? I don't know.
Yeah, that I haven't seen. I just know that that entire thing, mobile home was completely
Yeah,
demolished, right? It was
right.
caught on fire. Where I believe right next door there were some buildings that survived.
Correct.
And then I
They
know
did.
that there's like one building being constructed right now in Malibu,
Mhm.
but the rest are not. Um, but that's all I know about, the reconstruction.
Mhm.
I think the biggest complaint is that it's just taking so long.
Oh yeah, for
And
real.
that house that they're building there in Malibu, rebuilding in Malibu, it's already 3 million just for the foundation.
Jeez,
But
how many square feet?
it's very short, it's very small.
Really?
Yeah, I mean maybe
Damn,
15 or 1,600 square
that's
feet.
it.
Um, but yeah,
Wow.
I was just watching Adam, I think it's Adam Carolla, he was
Yes.
talking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
And it's amazing that and I don't even know how like this is all being done through how this person is able to do it, where
yeah.
everyone
I don't
else
know.
is not.
Yeah,
Again, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on behind the doors that I don't know about. But
yeah.
what I do see is you've got all these homes that were built or burnt down. These are
Right,
multi-million-dollar homes because they're right on the ocean, and
right,
obviously the movie stars probably own them, and they've got lots of money, so they can
right.
probably rebuild. Like they have
Mhm.
money to rebuild, and if you wanted to rebuild, why couldn't they have rebuilt it within a couple months after the
Yeah,
fire? So
yeah.
I,
They have
I
the
don't
money to do
know.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
it's
speaking of
interesting.
money, where did all the money go to help rebuild the homes for the folks that really can't afford it there in the Palisades?
Right. That's
That's
interesting.
yeah.
Somebody should have asked Newsom that question. What the
Right.
hell? What'd you guys do with their money?
mhm.
Or
Ask
Karen
his wife.
Bass.
Ask his
Right.
wife because I think his
That's
wife
right.
is the
Let's
one.
ask his wife.
His wife is the one who is I think the head of the
LLC.
nonprofit
Yeah. Or
for
the non.
the money for the fire victims of Palisades. And I think
Wouldn't
she
they?
makes like $300,000 a year or something like that just off of this thing. Or maybe it's 3 million. I actually I don't know. I have to look that up. I know there's three. There's a number three in
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, there all these donations go, and then of course you hear none of this money is going to the
The
actual
people.
fire victims. Yeah.
How
So
much did they raise? Does anybody recall? I thought it was like almost $1 billion or something, but I could be wrong.
let's see.
Tim might know. No?
No, I don't know off the top of my head, but I do know that Mr. Pratt running for mayor of Los Angeles is doing a fantastic job on his videos.
Wow, you're not gonna
Yeah.
believe this.
Huh.
It says nearly $1 billion
Was
to
raised.
help. Yeah, it was raised. A
I was
billion.
right. I said almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Nobody realizes all those zeros that are on there for $1 billion. You know what I mean? That's a lot
Right.
of zeros.
Right.
Yeah, that now doesn't make any sense that there's no one building their
Yeah.
homes. They're able to build their homes. I mean, $1 billion with I don't know how many people, how many victims there were total, but
Yeah.
that should pretty much get the city back on its feet.
I mean, there
Oh, I
should
would
be like
think.
a freeze for all the fire victims.
Fees or yeah, all the fees, all of this and of that. Yeah.
A freeze on the fees.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Let them rebuild and not get overtaxed on this whole build, and not raise any property taxes on new assessments. Just rebuild.
So $1 billion just went out the window and nobody has a clue where it went. I mean, that's a little shady.
Yeah.
That's way shady.
Well, we got to try to speed through a little bit of this because Mr. Tio has a hot date coming up in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes. Woo. I like it. I like it.
Lucky guy.
Right. Lucky.
So we're going to go back a few years on this next one. And this one is going to take us down a little bit of a rabbit hole, so to speak. But this might be eye-opening, revealing truth for some of us as well. So I want to play this video clip and get everyone's opinion on this.
Are you the Oklahoma City bomber?
Maybe one of the benefits of me talking to you today is that you'll see that maybe not everything is true that you've heard about me.
April 19th, 1995, a decorated Gulf War combat vet blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City using a truck bomb that he didn't build and a Ryder truck that he didn't rent with the help of a passenger who didn't exist. Having just gotten away with the largest act of terrorism on U.S. soil to date, the Fort Bragg trained Special Forces Sheep Drip Dropout blended in with the crowd by making his getaway in a car without a license plate and was immediately pulled over. The ATF was the supposed target of the attack, but luckily all of their agents were out of the office that morning. Later that day, the president boldly declared,
"We will find the people who did this.
And
when we do, justice will be swift, certain, and severe."
Except for
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
who, according to the FBI, never existed. In McVeigh's unprecedented 3.5-week trial, the prosecution didn't show the CCTV footage of him and John Doe number 2 parking the Ryder truck. Didn't explain why 24 separate witnesses mass hallucinated the existence of John Doe number 2. Didn't explain why the government was testing truck bombs and the army was storing Ryder trucks at Camp Gruber right before the bombing. And didn't talk to the FBI informants who blew the whistle on the plot. But they did collaborate with the CIA, and they did convict McVeigh as the lone wolf bomber and Terry Nichols as his bomb-constructing accomplice. Still, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, including 300 bombing victims, insist on talking about facts and evidence and refuse to simply believe what they've been told a million times by people in tailored suits with well-coiffed hair. They quote the U.S. Army Brigadier General and the FBI crime lab whistleblower and the inventor of the neutron bomb who point out the physical impossibility that the Ryder truck bomb did the damage to the building, but that doesn't matter because if there were other bombs in the building that day, we would have heard about them.
The second explosive was found and defused.
I think he said another bomb.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found.
They then found a third device, which was also larger than the first.
And I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb.
The FBI claims to have lost the footage showing McVeigh and John Doe number 2 parking the truck in front of the Murrah building that morning, but that's understandable because the Bureau has a lot of important evidence to store. Terry Nichols insists the FBI was involved in the plot, but thankfully a judge has saved us the trouble of listening to him by preventing lawyers from deposing him. There was a bomb squad truck parked across the street 2 hours before the blast, but that just shows the authorities were prepared for anything. And
other documents obtained by 2020 show that someone called the Executive Secretariat's office at the Justice Department in Washington and said the Morrow building had been bombed. But this was 24 minutes before the blast.
But that just shows the public was unusually vigilant that morning. Also,
apparently, before the bombing, Governor Frank Keating's brother, Mark, had been working on a novel about a terrorist bombing in Oklahoma City. Stranger still, one of the characters in the novel was named Thomas McVeigh.
But that's probably just a coincidence. McVeigh wrote a letter to his sister where he admitted to being a secret special forces operative, and he complained to friends of the pain in his ass from an army-implanted microchip, but that's crazy because if he didn't actually leave the army in 1991, there would be proof of that. McVeigh was not executed on May 16, 2001 as scheduled because
the FBI had failed to turn over thousands of pages of evidence to McVeigh's defense attorneys.
But the execution went ahead on June 11th. In highly unusual and secret agreement, no autopsy was performed. One witness said he was still breathing, and the prison officials admitted his hearse was a decoy. Then, the case was officially closed. And if you question any part of this story, you are a paranoid, wingnut, birther, truther, tenther, prepper, conspiracy loon who...
So, it's quite interesting seeing all that right there.
Right.
Yeah. So, we have somebody who, they just said, death row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And more than likely, that was not where he should have been.
Well, JFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm, Charlie Kirk. I don't know. I'm going to throw them all out there. Every one of them.
Yeah.
There's got to be a fall guy, right? Everybody's, and if you question it, then you're just crazy. And
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of logic. I like logic, and I want it to make sense. So yeah, when it doesn't, I'm not going to buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're on the right track there, Tanya. I mean, whenever there's something that's happening, that's a high profile, the way these things tend to be, there's something behind it that's kind of going back to the Bilderberg meeting, and things that get sort of put together behind closed doors. I do believe that it's somehow fabricated. The narrative is for one reason.
Yeah.
I don't know about the McVeigh and that building in Oklahoma. I don't know what was maybe behind it. I can tell you though that in my opinion, 9/11 was meant for us to get into the Middle East. That was like
Oh,
our
yeah.
way to get into the Middle East.
Let me play a
Yeah.
quick video clip on that. And
That does not make sense.
but look how these things are falling down.
Right. They're imploding. That looks like a Vegas hotel coming down right there, huh?
Yeah, so that's demolition style. It's not
Right.
actually what we'd suspect. And how they
Right.
said there in the Oklahoma bombing video there, that there was, even another building exploded prior to the explosions that happened at the federal building.
Right.
There was actually reports during the Clinton administration that there was, reported bombings or bombs found in the basement of the Twin Towers. Those were found and recovered. But so there's a lot of interesting things going on when it comes to the Twin Towers, Building 7. Okay, and then also the Pentagon. Where's the black boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only found one black box off the airplanes.
And how did these guys with little box cutters hijack our planes in the first place? I would like to know that.
Right.
Because I find that really, if I'm on that plane, there is no way you're going to get this plane. It's not happening. I'm going to do everything in my power.
It actually did a number of things. There was a reason for us to go to war in the Middle East.
Right.
A reason to, come up with these like Patriot Act and Homeland Security.
Spy on us all.
Wait a minute. I thought we had the National Guard for Homeland Security.
No,
why do we need all this spy tech?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. And so, if you're just looking at those buildings coming down, first of all, the architects and engineers who have to go and try to figure out, like, how do I build another building so it doesn't fall down like, the Twin Towers did?
Right.
Finding that the information when they went to go find the debris had thermite in it. Thermite is an explosive powder that burns at a very high temperature for a pretty long time. So there is also the USS Cole. I don't know if you ever heard of that ship that was there was a hole that was blown out of it. It was blamed again at that time. This is back in I think 1999 on Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda was just starting to become known as like another terrorist organization.
Yeah.
But they think actually what happened on the Cole was that it was planted by Israel to start this thing going in motion
in the Middle East. Yeah.
And that, by the way, that I think that did actually happen in Yemen. The ship was docked in Yemen, but then 2 years later they have the 9/11 attack, and the building itself, if you really know physics, it's impossible for a building to collapse the way it did. I mean, physics professors and whatnot had known that if a building that's at the 80th floor and there's 120 floors, which is a quarter or 3/4 of the building at the height, it's impossible for that building to collapse all the way down.
Correct.
Gravity will pull it down, but it would never, like the girders that are down towards the bottom. They weren't affected by any of the heat. They weren't affected by any of that other stuff. So there was something else inside that was causing the metal to be either melted or loose, and thermite being found in the debris is a great example why that happened. So again, it was I think a controlled demolition. I think the hijackers was a cover.
To be able to get to the Middle East, right?
Yeah, so they had to blame it obviously on somebody, the boogeyman, and so it's a Middle Eastern. So again, by the way, those hijackers weren't from Afghanistan, Iraq; they were from Saudi Arabia. So
and I remember
how come we didn't go to war with Saudi Arabia?
Right. and Bush was having some brandy or scotch or something with somebody from Saudi Arabia on a balcony somewhere. And I remember that there was a video of it. And people were like, well, what the hell's going on now? Like,
right.
First off, yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. It's insane.
That ill response from Bush, so just him kind of like looking like Curious George when
that was ridiculous. Yeah.
It's just
yeah. He didn't look shocked either. He looked like he expected it, right? I mean, to me, he didn't look stunned. He just kept going with this thing like no big deal. Like
so, Mr. T.O., you mentioned the name earlier, so I want to play a video that you sent to me on text message a couple of weeks ago, actually. And we'll talk about this briefly, and then we got to wrap up. Time's running out.
You got a date. We don't
want to you for your hot date.
I believe he had the guest list, right?
Every day.
Yeah.
It's
he's got it. So this is the guest list. Bilderberg meeting 2026. And speaking of engineering crisis, God, you didn't even plan that. That was great. There was a crisis meeting. This is what I blue balls people with last week. There was a crisis meeting in Washington, D.C., no less, of the Bilderberg Group a week and a half ago. And there was only one, as far as I could tell, only one journalist outside this hotel in Washington, D.C. that was surrounded by a fence for a long time. More on that in a second. There was only one journalist covering this, and I want to give this guy a huge shout out. Dan Dix from Press for Truth, a Canadian independent journalist, wasn't even from America, flew into our country to do this. Shout out to Dan Dix, and he was taking videos all week. But this was the first time in 33 years, there's that number again, Beef, where as far as anyone can tell from reporting that Bilderberg had their meeting, I guess, moved up and viewed it as a crisis meeting. And Dan Dix was there with the scoop, including he was taking videos from far away, yelling at like Alex Karp, who was apparently is a member of Bilderberg and was invited along with the attendees there, while he was leaving the hotel and giving a weird peace sign outside his limo. And there were some other people as well that he was catching. He might have been the guy that took the picture of the MI6 head whose like great uncle was a Ukrainian Nazi during World War II, neither here nor there. But basically Dan Dix was on this. And so we have a couple links. We covered this in the bonus last week on Patreon, and I said I would get to it publicly as well. So shout out to all you who waited for that. Also, as a side note, I appreciate everyone who's on Patreon and YouTube members only. We do the early releases over there, and we do stuff uncensored for the most part, as far as like some things you do have to censor on YouTube, like words you have to bleep out and stuff like that. But, you know, they are all early releases. I like giving the people in the public also what they want. So special thank you to all the people on Patreon doing that, but I never want.
All right. So Mr. T.O., you said this is a little lengthy.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try to fast forward through that a bit. If I knew that segment was in there, I would have clipped it out. Thank you to whomever that video is. I don't know any of these video contents that I'm playing. I'm just playing them as we found them.
Yeah.
And I'm posting the links, and I'll put them in the show description later on. But let's go ahead and fast forward. Was there some names in that video, Mr. T.O.?
Yeah, I think he actually named him. He names him in the video.
Okay.
And again, what was very fascinating about the timing of it is all the things happening with Iran, and you know, and the administration, and you know, the climate, getting out of climate, but also getting out of trying to get out of NATO. I think a lot of these are chess moves by Trump, and Bilderberg obviously is the shadow government, what we would consider the deep state of individuals that are not elected, and they're getting together, emergency meeting that they normally do, getting together, I think once a year, and a lot of things that have happened go back to the Oklahoma City bombing, go to Las Vegas, go to all these. I think these are all planned things that will happen, that they plan on happening in order to change certain narratives or direction.
Events. Yeah. I agree.
And so I don't know what's planning to come out of that meeting. But I will say that, you know, with the latest news about some virus that you get from a rat, obviously we're in an election year. that stuff seems to come up every election year.
Yep.
I don't know if that has anything to do with what the Bilderberg meeting was about.
I'm thinking so. I'm thinking
Well, I mean,
so.
when it came to that virus, there's two things that happened. There's the Disney cruise ship and predators on that ship.
Right.
Child predators. I'll just put it that way. And let's see, what was the other thing? I said two things. Shoot, I lost my train of thought.
Well, before COVID, wasn't that the same thing that happened, you guys? The cruise ships came in with people that had this kind of virus, and they took them to a military base or whatever. It was like a big, long, drawn out thing way before it happened.
Oh, and the other thing was the release of these ticks.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, those are the richest people in the world, right? I mean, basically, money talks, right? Tio, I mean, the Bilderberg people aren't small potatoes. These guys are like running economies, running the world. It's
Pretty much,
not
yeah.
nothing.
A lot of the people that actually join or are part of it are like people that we don't really know, but they're
But
running
they're rich.
corporations. There's some of them that are royalty, considered royalty in the
Right.
country that they live in. But again, most of them I don't really know. I honestly
Right.
don't know them. But as you said, there's lots of money involved.
Right. Whenever there's money, there's control and power, and
I kind of feel like the pandemic or the pandemic was done so that the pharmaceuticals can
make some
rake
more
in on
money.
money, right?
Yep.
I
'cause-
remember Tim Russert on Meet the Press, bless his soul. He was interviewing, was it Kerry and Bush Jr. And he was asking them about the Skull and Crossbones Society.
Mhm.
I don't know if you all remember that video, but it's interesting on how they both belonged to that same club, so to speak.
Yeah, that's wild.
And
That is
it might
wild.
have some ties with this Bilderberg
Right.
group.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely. So I have a list here of the people that were participants this year. One of them is Stacey Abrams. Do you remember Stacey Abrams?
I know the name. Where's
Georgia? She was the representative from Georgia.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
I know exactly who now.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Like, why would she be? She's not even. I don't think she's in Congress anymore.
There's no reason.
So why would she be there?
Right.
You've got Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer.
Okay.
Right.
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma.
Mhm.
We've got the CEO of Spotify, Daniel Ek.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That's
Lots
weird.
of people. Alex Corp, which is he mentions in that he's the CEO of Palantir. Palantir is like a secret, not secret, but security,
yeah.
surveillance. I think they're
Oh.
surveillance. Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, Peter Thiel, I believe, started the company, or he was somehow he funded it. I don't know. And Peter
Right.
Thiel is, he joined or he was part of PayPal with Elon.
Oh, in the
That's how he made
beginning,
his fortune.
Yeah.
Eric Schmidt, he was the former CEO of Google.
Okay.
I feel like he's one of the villains. Really bad dude. You got the Queen of Netherlands, Queen Maxima.
Wow.
She was there. So yeah.
That's wild.
Lots of people. Jens Stoltenberg from NATO. He's believe he's actually from Holland.
Yeah.
I remember. And he was elected at one point, I think. But once you're out of election, you go into the EU. This is another thing that's about the European Union. They just hire you. So you're not really
Wow.
elected. And this is weird because it's the hierarchy, all the states,
Right.
all the countries are like kind of like states. But
Right.
the EU is like the federal part of Europe, and they make the decisions, and all the states have to like follow. And so, for example, they said, 5 or 6 years ago, oh, you got to have so many of these immigrants come into your country, and like even if they didn't want to, there were the EU says you have to, and so
They had to do it.
but these are unelected people.
That's
I mean,
wild.
literally, they're unelected. Let me look that up. I want to make sure that that's true, but I am pretty sure that people
Yeah.
in like Germany do not elect people in the
Right.
EU. They elect
Right.
their officials in Germany, but they
Right.
don't elect someone for the EU. So let me just check that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then after you check that, I know we need to wrap up because I don't want your wife mad at me.
Yeah, I think we need to wrap up now so he can get his game on and get ready to go on his date. Heck
Right?
yeah.
So it says here that they're appointed. So the officials are appointed.
Oh,
So they're not,
Wow.
but they're not appointed by the people. They're appointed by let's see.
random people.
Yeah. No. Each member state is based on a principle of digression proportionally. The size of the population in each country is taken into account. Smaller states elect more MEPs. I guess MEP stands for elections.
Oh, that's
Elections. Yeah. I'll have to, in the next one, I'll have to provide more details, but
Yeah, we'll look
I'm
into it.
pretty sure that these are non-elected people.
I think they're non-elected also.
Yeah.
I
So-
believe
Well,
you're right.
it sounds like we
But-
need to have a beyond the beyond of patriotic news.
We could go so far into all this stuff, you guys. It's never ending, right?
Right.
I feel like it's been smoke and mirrors forever. You know what I mean? Trying to dissuade us to believe one thing when they just really want us to go a certain direction. You know, in terms of war, in terms of whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
So,
There's
Mr.
always
T,
a-
we look forward to having you back again.
Yeah, yeah. If your
Awesome.
wife will let you.
Yes, of course. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks. It's been a
Good
pleasure
night.
being on
Good
your
night.
show, Tim, and it's great seeing you again, Tanya.
Oh, you too.
right.
You too. You
Well,
guys
thank
have
you,
a
ladies.
lovely evening.
So,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, be sure to like, share, and follow at Tim Holliday TV. That's TimHolliday TV. No spaces. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, let's see, Twitch TV, iHeart, Spotify, as we just said a moment ago. Yikes! And Apple Podcasts. Until actually Sunday. So we're gonna have Mr. John Valle back on Sunday, and we're gonna talk about a little bit more as what's going on with some recent news and views. Until
Right
next
on.
time, ladies and gentlemen, ciao for now.
Okay. Good night.